Hey, my name's Tom Derzypolski. I'm the board president here at Venture Out. But tonight I'm coming to you as a candidate. And because of that, I'm not going to use email that I have access to as president. I'll just simply post things here on YouTube and share it on Facebook. However, whether or not you agree or disagree with me, you certainly can copy and paste the link and send it to other owners by way of email if you wish. So let me jump into a few things I wanted to address this evening. It is full political season in Venture Out, and I think that's obvious on social media. And been a lot that I've read over the past week or so, but there's a couple things that compelled me to produce this video that I wanted to share with you. Three main points really, and let's jump into them quickly so this video doesn't drag on. First of all, with respect to how we lead as board members, I believe that the broader and more diverse of leadership and representation we have on a board, the better. That we need independent thinkers who are showing up, studying issues, examining what's best for the community, and voting as they wish, as they choose, as an individual board member on what they believe in to be the best interest of owners. Keeping in mind, this board, probably like no other board in history, has done an aggressive outreach for engagement. We've held town halls, we conducted surveys, we promote the board meetings like it's a rock concert, and we share recaps of the board meetings by way of video, and we just really want to make sure that owners know what is going on and can engage at whatever level they wish. That kind of governance, that kind of openness is what we need more of. We need a board that will challenge one another. I can tell you that last year's board and this year's is made up of people who prepare for meetings and who will challenge each other on all sorts of issues. We're not a play along to get along group. We don't have a faction or a political action group or an alliance internally where we like pre-bake things and go into a meeting and ramrod it through without regard to our fellow board members. It is cordial, it is productive, and it is important for our community. So the first issue I'd like to point out is I am concerned when I see a candidate and a body of candidates who are promoting a set of ideas. That's fine. But who say, here's our ideas, here's the slate that you should vote for because it'll give us a majority. That just from go is the wrong approach for our community. To have a majority inserted into the board to kind of ramrod through one set of beliefs. Every issue must be carefully examined. Those individuals should be prepared and encouraged to disagree with one another, to challenge one another, not come in as a body and move through whatever they wish. And I believe that discourages participation. And frankly, if you think about it this way, seat all five of them, they show up with a majority, ramrod through whatever they wish, and that silences Rebecca and Catherine and Cindy, and maybe Andrew makes it to the board. I'm not sure. I might have lost count there on the total number of people. I don't think that we need more of that kind of governance in our community. I think that's been a part of our past, where factions of people have bond together and ramrod something through, or show up to the board just to kill one or two things, but not really willing to put in the hard work that it takes to prepare for the future and address major issues. That is not something I can get behind and support. I'll tell you, though, that when I look at individuals, I see some really interesting experience, professional experience, personal experience, experience in our community, experience perhaps on the board in the past. And I think that is important experience. I think that we should look at them individually and say, I don't know about this whole group and moving a majority through for the sake of, just having their way, but I can definitely, even as a current sitting board member who's receiving criticism from some of these people, I could look at them and say they would bring value to the board and I would vote for them. And so I'm personally going through that myself to determine who I will vote for. But I do think that it's important that you as an individual make that decision and that all owners feel like they have a voice and there's not a small body of people on the board that are just going to kind of do whatever they want to do, right? I'm not suggesting they have malicious intent, that they're going to try and hurt the community, but I certainly believe that that attitude and that approach is moving backwards while the rest of the community is prepared to move forward. And that is the way I'm going to approach this campaign. The next thing I'd like to bring up is the 1, 3, and 5 year plan you might have read about in my letter. I've heard some chatter that that's impossible, that's a pipe dream, every board has their own authority and will do whatever they want. I think that's a big problem with it. I think that mentality is exactly why our community is in the physical state that it is now and why we face some of the challenges that we face. I absolutely believe and intend, if elected, to produce with engagement of owners and leadership, past leadership, current leadership, owners from every walk of life. I want your feedback on where you believe we need to go as a community. What are our priorities? What should we consider funding? What should we plan for in the future? Let's map that out and build a roadmap and a plan like almost every community in the country has, right? A comp plan that looks at where we're going to go from an infrastructure perspective to amenities, building compliance, all these important issues that we can address as a community. And here's what I would tell you. When you involve the community and they participate in the process and they have a sense of ownership, when they re-elect boards, they look for candidates who understand the importance of where we're going, right? They don't just vote on the issue of the day. Like, well, who's going to make sure the dog poop is picked up every day? Which candidate will be best at that? Those are important issues that bother some owners. I get it, but that is like what we call majoring in minor things. We have bigger vision things we need to address. And that's the kind of leadership and planning that I want to be a part of. I want to empower a manager to manage, set goals, expectations, budgets, policies, to set them up, and then let them lead. We don't need co-managers. We don't need a manager and a bunch of board members as co-managers running around behind the manager's back making decisions. We need a chain of command that is clear and a strong manager who will provide the leadership and guidance our community needs. And I think we're in that position. Lastly, I've heard that we have a reputation, or it's being put out, I think, as a bit of a fear tactic, but they're going to spin their way out of the current board. If they're reelected, they're going to spin their way out of this and they're going to bankrupt us and then run most of us out of the park. That is false. That is on its face absolutely false. And what's interesting about that is it fails to account for the fact that we too experience those fees. When condo fees go up, it affects my home. It affects our personal budget. When I get an assessment of $800+ due in 1 year, that's not easy in my household, okay? We don't just dismiss that because we're wealthy people. And I recognize we have the full range of economic resources in our community. Perhaps some people are quite literally paycheck to paycheck and just barely able to hang on to their place at Venture Out. And then we've clearly got some people with extensive financial resources that it may impact at a lesser level. But it doesn't matter where you are on that spectrum. When we're spending your money, that is important, whether you have a ton of it or very little of it. And I can assure you that when I voted to pass that special assessment, it was painful on my household personally. But I had to set aside my personal interest and my personal concerns and make the decision that was right for the community. And the other board members did the same thing. There's nothing fun or popular about that. And we have no intention of spending our way out. And let me tell you right now, it took us decades to get in this state that we're in right now. And I would place a large blame for that, not on our past board members, but on our past managers. We had weak managers. We had some that were good old boys and had lots of pals, and there were lots of exceptions, lots of shenanigans. And we had another one that was super weak. And so every board was sort of running the community on their own. And the manager was so scared of the board, they were just paralyzed into existence. That's not okay. And that's not how we need to run. But those types of decisions have created a situation where we do have some big ticket items coming down the line. But this board and the future board understands that we cannot buy our way out of the situation. It took us time to get into it. It's gonna take us time to get out of it. And that we have to be very thoughtful along the way and make sure that owners are engaged and aware and that we're considering everybody's needs. So I just wanted to reach out this evening and first and foremost, make sure and encourage you to vote. If you don't want to vote for me, that's fine. But boards need to see that our owners participate in order to be held accountable. it's discouraging as an owner to know we have 735 owners, and that, at any given time, less than half of them are voting, or half of them are casting a ballot, right? That means there's a whole nother set that don't care. That lets a board know that if they want to run rogue, most people aren't even paying attention. That's not healthy. It's not okay. So you need to vote and participate, and I encourage that. And I'd also encourage you to vote for whoever you're compelled to vote for. If you elect me, I do not need a majority going into office to be effective or to be compelling or to lead. I don't have to have that pre-baked in to listen to owners and to make the right decisions for our community. I think that's very much the wrong direction. And I was very sad to see that that would be proposed. I've always suspected that it kind of was a thing and might happen, but just to see it out front like that, I'm grateful for, because I'm glad to know now. But I was a bit discouraged and just wanted to kind of reach out to you this evening and share my thoughts on governance and engagement and the role of the board, and where we can go as a community. So, good evening. Thank you for trusting me over the past 2 years. I would ask for your support again, and I would ask for you to seek out candidates who are ready to roll up their sleeves and get to work and think independently with the interest of our community in mind always, not just a small group of people. All right, good evening.